What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today, as you can see, that we are going to create a quiz app in React, preferably in TypeScript template. So you're going to see something like this by the end of the video. You can see that this is a quiz app. When you can press on start, then there will be some set of questions. You're going to answer them. And if I go like this, you can see that whenever I put a wrong answer, it becomes red and the right answer is shown like this. So likewise, if you choose the right answer, like I don't know, if you see that I'm just playing around, none of these are correct yet. Yeah, okay, so as you can see that this is a correct answer and this will be green and the score will be added here. So basically this is what we're going to create, and for that reason, we will be using an API which is called OpenTDB, that is Trivia API. As you can see here, you can configure, like if I refresh, well, I'm going to put a link of this URL down in the description after the video, so you can check it out. So what you can do here is you can configure how you like the API or the quiz questions to be. So you can select the category, you can select the difficulty, you can select what type of question, like multiple choice or true false. You can also select the number of questions from here. So we're going to keep it very simple, and you're going to see, like suppose we are going to have 10 questions and with easy difficulty, and let the other things be like as it is. So if I generate API URL from here, you can see an API is generated, and we're going to use this API to call the questions out and display in the application. So basically that's what we're going to do. And also as I said that we're going to use TypeScript template for the React application. So basically we're going to install the application with this command, npx create react app, and then we're going to name this. In here we're going to name our application, and with template we will display as TypeScript. So basically this is what we are going to do. Of course, as previously I have created the last video that I have created, you might have seen that I have shown how you can hide your API keys or APIs, anything like any secret or confidential data in the backend or in the server side, and you do not need to display it on the front end so that it cannot be accessed from the browser or from the console. So in that case, I'm going to create a server as well, so to call the API, and then we're going to create a proxy server to fetch this data from the server to the front end, and then we're going to make the application like that. So at first we're going to create the server side, and then we're going to move on to the front end part. So let's get started. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified immediately. So right now what I'm going to do is we're going to open VS Code, and then we're going to start working on the application. Okay, so as you can see that we have VS Code open. I'm going to create two folders at first. One will be called frontend, and there will be another folder which I'm going to call server. So at first let's work through the server. So at first let's open up a terminal and let's cd the server. We're going to create a node application here, so npm init -y, that means yes to all, and in this we're going to install some of the dependencies. So as you can see that we already have our package.json, so the application has been created. So now we are going to install some dependencies or some packages. If you see, at first we will be installing Express, we will be needing Axios, then we need .env, and also we will be needing course. So these will be taking some time to install. Once these are done, okay, these are already done. And alongside these, we will be needing Nodemon for dev dependency, so we are going to install that as well. So npm I -D Nodemon. So this will be installed as a dev dependency. So now let's open up this package.json, and we're going to see the dev dependency being installed here. Okay, so you can see Nodemon is installed as a dev dependency. So we're going to change the script. We don't need test. Instead, we will be needing, one will be dev and another one will be just start. So in that case, or in case of the dev server, we will be needing nodemon server.js, because server.js is a file that we're going to create, and that in that file we're going to work through for the server side. And for the regular dev, or for starting this application, we will be using node server.js. Okay, so this is something that we will do, and as you may have already known by this time that I like using the ESX syntax. So in that case, I will be writing type as module, and you're going to see why. Okay, so I have configured the package.json to my need. Now the first thing that I will be needing is the .env file in the server side. So I'm going to create that, and there will be two variables. One will be the port, will be 5000, and the other one will be the API URL. And this URL, I'm just going to copy the URL from, if I go to the browser, if I go here, I'm just going to copy the URL up to here. So this is what I'm going to paste here. Okay, that's what we have. Now let's create the server.js file. Okay, so now in the server.js file, let's start with express from express, import Axios from Axios, import course from course, import .env /config. Okay, now let's set the port goes to process.env.port. If we do not find it there, then we will be directly starting the port at 5000. Now this will be an express app, and we are going to use course. Okay, now with that, let's create the server that we wanted to do. That is, okay, before doing that, let's just see if everything works fine. So we're going to make the app listen and callback, where we're just going to console log server is listening on port. Okay, that's what we're going to have, and save. So now in this, from the server, as you might have already seen from the package.json, we are going to use this for starting the nodemon server. So we will write npm run start dev. So that's what we're going to write in the server, npm run start dev. So if you see, okay, now the application is running fine. So now what we are going to do is we're going to write app dot, which is a get request, and from the URL point of view, like, we are going to send two different variables as parameters in the URL from the front end. So one is the amount, as you might have already seen, the amount of questions. Well, if I go back to the browser, you might see this thing, the amount of questions. This is one of the variable, and the difficulty, this is another variable. So we're going to do this. In this case, I'm going to just hard code this thing in from the application. You can change it from the app as well, but like, you can also not hard code it or do something else, like make it dynamic. So let's get back to the code here. One of the variable is the amount, and the other variable is the difficulty. Okay, so as we're going to call the API here, that means we're going to use Axios here. So this will definitely be an async await function. So with the request and response and an arrow function here, the first thing is response equals await Axios dot get. Okay, now the first thing is process.env.api URL. That's what we have here. So this is the first thing that we will be calling. If you see, this is the part that we call first, and then we will be having a question mark with the amount, and according to this, the amount will be request.params.amount. That means this is the value that we are going to insert here. This is 1, and with that we are going to set the difficulty as well, and we're going to keep it simple. So it will be like this: difficulty equals request.params.difficulty. This is the difficulty that we are sending from the front end, that is this one, this variable. So we're going to have this. So now after this, at first let's check what we have. So we will console log the response and save. So we I think alongside that, let's just go for res.json with the response. I don't think anything might appear, so we are going to hit the localhost 5000 with an amount with any amount that we want, and any difficulty, that is easy, medium, and hard. So in that case, let's go to the browser. Maybe you can use Postman, then any other API testing tool like Insomnia as well. But I'm just going to do it, keep it simple, and do it in the browser. So localhost 5000 / let's go for 10, because the first amount, and the second amount will be easy. If I go like this, well, nothing will appear here, but in the code you can see that there are certain objects and we need to access the data. So in that case, let's go for console log .data, and in the response also .data. Okay, at this time we may not need this, so we're just going to keep it like this and save. So if we refresh, okay, we need to type it again: localhost 5000 / 10 / easy. Just make sure that the spelling is correct, otherwise if the spellings of easy, medium, or hard are not properly given, your API will not lead to anywhere. So if I click OK, now you can see that we are getting some of the values here. So we have accessed the data, and now we need to access these results. As you can see here, there are category, type, difficulty, question, correct answer, and incorrect answers as well. So in that case, I think we can console log with results and save. So if that is the thing that we want, you will be seeing. Now if I copy it first, stop it, and refresh, nothing comes. I'm going to paste it like this, and now you can see we have everything that we need. So it has accessed the results. So likewise, if we copy this part, response.data.results, and paste it here, and take the comment off from here, let's comment out the console log, we don't need it anymore. Now you can see that if you hit the URL, this is what we are going to get, and this is what we're going to work through. So basically the part of the server is done here, and let's just remove this console log, we won't be needing this anymore. So basically this is the part, as I've said, that we're going to pass the amount and the difficulty from the front end. So with the URL localhost 5000, like we are going to hit this URL, and this 10 is a variable, this easy is a variable as well. That means this 10 is the amount, and this easy is the difficulty that we are going to send. So I'm going to save it, and let's keep the server running. Now let's go back to the front end. So in this case, we have nothing here yet. What we are going to do is we're going to open up another terminal, and we're going to cd into the front end. Okay, now as I've shown that we're going to use npx create react app command, and as we are already in the directory, so we do not need to have anything here. Rather, we are just going to put a dot here, and we are going to use the template of TypeScript. So that's what we're going to do. So let's copy this command And as we are already in the front end folder, let's paste it. Instead of my app, I'm going to put a dot and press enter. So this is going to take some time to install the application. So we're going to come back after this is done. Okay, so as you can see that we have happy hacking, that means our application has been created, the front-end application. So if you go to the source here, I think what we can do is we can delete some of the unnecessary files. So we won't be needing app.css, we don't need this, we don't need index.css, logo, then we don't need these files. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete all of these, and with that, let's go to the index.ts. We don't need this, and we don't need the index.css line, so we can remove these lines as well. Let's save it, and in the app.tsx we will be removing this logo line and the app.css, and inside here, inside the div class name app, we are going to remove everything. And for now, let's just go with a quiz app. For now, let's save it and let's do npm start, and let's see what we have. So the application is going to start, hopefully without any error, but if there is any sort of error, we're going to solve it anyway. So as you can see, the application is starting somehow. Let's go back to the code and see. Okay, it says it's compiled successfully. So yes, as you can see that we have the quiz app as we wanted. Okay, now let's get back to the code part. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this for now, and I'm going to install some dependencies. One of them is Axios. I will be using styled components, so I'm going to install that. And also, I will be using @types/styled components. So the CSS part that I'm going to do is with style components. So we will be designing that side by side while we are coding the logics and the other parts. So, well, after the installation of the dependencies, I was facing a little bit of error. I don't know why. There was no actual reason, but I was facing an error with this line. If you can see here, this was the error that I was facing. So what I did was I just did an npm install, simple npm I command, and then now I think these are working fine. If I go with npm start, I don't think I will be facing the error anymore. So let's see what we get. I'm going to close the previous one. And yes, so I am having quiz app. That means the app is running fine. As you can see, it's compiled successfully. Okay, so now, thing is, if you see that we have a background, so we need an image. For that reason, I already have one. You can get any images you want from any of the free websites where you can download images for free, royalty-free images and stuff. So as I already have one, what I'm going to do is in the source folder, first I'm going to create an images folder, and inside that images folder, I'm just going to paste this. Well, this is the image that I'm going to use. So I already have that right now with me. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create another folder which is called components. And inside the components folder, I'm going to have two files. One of the files is question card. If I go with new file, that is question card.tsx. This is one of the file, and for styling this file, I'm going to create question card.styles.ps. Here we're going to import the styled components. Okay, now we're going to have a wrapper and a button wrapper for the DOM elements. So const export const wrapper. This will be a div, styled div, if I'm precise. So first we're going to have a max width of 1100 pixels. Then we're going to have a background of the color EBF EFF. Okay, that's what we're going to have. Then we will have a border radius of 10 pixels. Then we will have a border of 2 pixels solid and a color of 0085A3. Then we will have a padding of 20 pixels. We will have box shadow of 0 pixel, 5 pixels, 10 pixels, and an RGB of 0, 0, 0, and 0.25. And that's what we're going to have for the box shadow. In case of the text align, we will have it at the center, and for p tags, the font size will be 1 rem. Okay, so that's what we have for the wrapper. Now we want a button wrapper props for the next component that we have, that is the button wrapper. So for that we're going to have a type of button wrapper props, and inside that we will be having 2 variables, that is the correct variable boolean and user clicked. This is also boolean as well. Why we are having this, you're going to see it just in a moment. So now let's create export const button wrapper, and this will be a style component of the div element with button wrapper props will be here. Okay, now you see, first we are going to have a transition of a all, then 0.3 seconds, and it will be at ease. Okay, then in case of the hovering the mouse, we will have an opacity of 0.8. Then we're going to design the button. So for the button, the cursor will be pointer, then user select will be none, the font size will be 0.8 rem, width will be 100%, height will be 40 pixels, then the margin will be 5 pixels and 0. Then the background of the button when it's hovered on, or if it's correct or incorrect. Now the thing is, as we have defined the button wrapper props as correct and user clicked, these 2 variables, now this will come into effect here, because if we have a correct value, we will have maybe we will be having a green color, as you have already seen, and if we have a wrong value, that button will be red in color. So in that case, what we are going to do now is this. So we will be having correct and user clicked. That's what we have. And here this will be an arrow function. So for correct, we're going to see, I'm just going to put correct in a different line like this, and question mark like this. Okay, so in case of this, let's have a semicolons here. So first of all, it will be a linear gradient of 90°, and the color will be 56FFA4 and 59BC86. That's what we have. In other case, if there is not correct and user clicked, in that case what we will have is linear gradient will be 90°, and we're going to change this value. The first one will be FF5656 instead of this, so we will have FF5656, and the second value will be C16868, so we will have C16868. Okay, that's what we are going to have. Otherwise, what we will have is a linear gradient of 90°, and the colors will be 56CCFF and 6EAFB4. I think I misspelled 6EAFB4. So I guess that's what we're going to have, like this. Okay, now as you can see, we're going to proceed with the border will be 3 pixels solid, and the color will be all F. We will have a box shadow of 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 0 pixel, and RGBA, where we will have 0, 0, 0, and 0.1. This is the box shadow that we're going to have. Then we will have the border radius, and the border radius will be 10 pixels. The color will be FF. And finally, the text shadow will be 0 pixel, 1 pixel, 0 pixel, and RGBA of 0, 0, 0, and 0.25. That's what we have for now. Okay, we're going to save this. All right, now let's go to the question card. So we're going to import React from React, and we will have the wrapper and button wrapper from question card.styles. So the style components that we have created, we have just imported this in the question card file. Okay, now we are going to have an answer object which will contain the question, the answer, and among them there will be a correct answer, which will be the exact answer that we have, and the correct which is a boolean value, whether, like, if we have clicked on the correct answer, this will be true. If we click on the wrong answer, it will be false. So for that, we're going to have it export type. We're going to use this answer object in another file as well, so we need to export it. Answer object, and we will have question. This question will be a string. Then we have answer. This will also be a string. We have correct, which is a boolean, and we have correct answer, which is also a string. Okay, now we are going to have some props for the question card. So for that reason, what we are going to do is we're going to create a type called props, and here what we will have are question, which is a string. We will have answers, which is a string array. Then we will have a callback for this, and in case of a callback, we will have an event, which will be a React dot mouse event, and this will be an HTML button element, because we are going to have a mouse event, because we're going to click on the buttons, and this is an HTML button element. That's why a callback will be coming or generating from here. So at first, initially, this will be void. Okay, then we will have either answer, which is the answer that we're going to provide, and this will be an answer object, or we can say it's undefined. Okay, we are going to have a question number. So in that case, this is number, and we are going to have the total number of questions. So we will have total questions. This is also a number. Okay, now we are going to design the question card now, or we're going to write the question card. So const question card, and as you might have already seen, this is a React functional component, and we are going to pass the props. So let's make it an arrow function. So let's pass question, answers, callback, then we have user answer, question number, and total questions. Okay, and let's make this an arrow function now. All right, now we will have the wrapper at first, and inside this wrapper, first things first, we will have a p class name will be number, and inside this we will have question this will be defining the question number out of the total questions. So we will have question number slash total questions. Okay, so after this p tag, we're going to have a div, and in case of this, we're going to map through the answers dot map. We will have answer here and another arrow function. So in that case, let's we will have the button wrapper, and inside the button wrapper we will have, in case of the button wrapper, we will have the key will be answer, and we will have correct. This will be, let's just make these things a little bit organized, so just putting this down to each other. So the correct will be the user answer dot answer. That means if the user answer is the correct answer, this is the variable, and we are going to have user clicked. So user answer dot answer. Okay, that's what we will have, and we do need a closing tag, so that's how we close the tag. I think that's fine. Then we will have a button. Let's have it disabled first. When user answer, then we will have a value as answer, and on click we will have the callback. And inside the button, what we are going to have is span, and let's make it a self-closing tag, and inside this will be a dangerously set inner HTML. So we will set HTML answer. That's what we're going to have. Okay, so now as you can see, all these things, I'm going to make it inside like this. I think I misspelled it. It's going to be disabled. Okay, now this is fine. And in case of the button wrapper, no overload matches this call, overload 1 of 2. We're going to find it out if anything goes wrong. So for now, let's move with export default question card. I think I misplaced this, so we won't be having this. Okay, now this seems fine. This is absolutely fine right now. Actually, I had one of the closing tags here as well, so make sure that you don't make that mistake. I think this is fine for now. Let's just close it like this. Now I'm going to have a file in the source which will be called utils.ts, and in this file I'm going to write a small function. You can write however you want, but I'm going to write the small function to shuffle the answers. Whenever we have the questions, then the answers we do not want the answers to be in the same pattern every time we face the same question. So the there will be 4 options, true, but the options will be rearranged and set to different arrangements. So in that case, we are going to write a function called export const shuffle array, and here we have array of any type of. Here we are going to have an arrow function where we have array dot sort, and inside sort we will have, we are just going to write it something like random at this point 5. I think that will be it for the utils. Basically, this is just a small function where I've written about the shuffle array or the shuffle answers. I'm going to use it. You're going to see it in a bit. So basically, I'm going to use it to shuffle the answers, as I said, rearrange the answers. So now what we are going to do is we're going to create another file in the source, which is called api.ts. So inside the api.ts, we are going to fetch the API from the backend. So first, let's have import Axios from Axios, and we're going to, okay, about the shuffle array, let's go to the utils and let's just name it, instead of shuffle array, let's name it shuffle answers. I think that makes more sense. So we're going to save it and let's go back to api.ts, and here we're going to import the shuffle answers from utils. Okay, and okay, I need to put them in inverted commas. All right, so export type question. I'm exporting this as well because I'm going to import it somewhere else. So as you might have already seen, that in case of the question, we have 6 properties, which are category. This is a string. We have correct answer, which is also a string. Then we have difficulty, which is a string. We have incorrect answers, which is a string array. We have question, which is a string, and we have type, which is a string. Okay, so why I am writing this, or from where I found this. If I go back to the previous console where you could have seen the server side, you see that these are the questions. We have category, we have type, difficulty, question, correct answer, and incorrect answers. So these are the things that we are defining here. So that's why we're going like this. So with that, we will have export type question state. This will be question and answers. That means we are defining that the question state will consist of the question and the answers. And as I said, that we are going to sort of hard code the difficulty here from the API, that is the easy, medium, and hard. So we are going to write something like export enum difficulty, and we're going to make this a capital letter. Okay. And in case of these, we will be having easy, the value will be easy. We will have medium, the value will be medium, and we are going to have hard, this value will be hard as well. Okay, so that's what we have right now. After that, now we are going to have a function which is called export const fetch quiz questions. And again, I'm going to use Axios here to fetch the data from the API or from the proxy server. So this will be an async await function here. Inside this, we're going to pass the amount, that is the total number of questions, and this will be of a type of number. And we're going to pass difficulty, which is going to be difficulty, as you can see. Okay, this will be an arrow function. Here we're going to have const endpoint equals, we have localhost, so localhost 5000, and inside this we are going to pass two variables, that is amount and that is difficulty. So as you can see that this is the URL that we are trying to access, like localhost 5000, and we're passing the amount and difficulty as the parameters. So if I go to the server.js, that means the server side, you can see that amount and difficulty, these two things are the variables that we are passing through the URL. So likewise, we're fetching the data from this by passing the amount and the difficulty. In case of the response, we have response will be await axios.get his endpoint. Okay, so once we have this, we're going to return the response.data, and in the response.data we are going to have everything that we have already seen from the server side. Like if you go to the other terminal, these are the data that we are going to get from the response.data, as you can see here. So as we have this response.data, we're going to map through this, and inside this map, firstly we will have question, and this will be of the type question, and again this will be an arrow function. So in this case we will have question and we will have answers, and in case of the answers, as I said, that we are going to use shuffle answers to reorganize the structure or reorganize the numberings of the options that we have for each question. So shuffle answers. Inside this we are going to have question dot incorrect answers, and we will have question dot correct answer. Okay, so these are the values that we are going to have. Incorrect answers, there will be 3 incorrect answers and 1 correct answer. So there will be 4 options in total, and these options will be rearranged or shuffled however they want, randomly basically. So we're going to save this. Okay, so now as we have this, we need to go to the app.tsx. So we're going to write things over here. So before that, what we need to do is we are going to create another file for the styling of the app.tsx, which is called app.styles.ts. Okay, so now as we are in the app.styles.tx, what we are going to do is we're going to do the styling for the app.tsx. So at first we will have styled from the style components, and we are going to have create global style, and these are coming from style components. Then we are going to import bg image, that is the background image, from, we have the folder images, and inside the images folder, as you might have already seen, that I just named it barbados.jpg. So we're going to write barbados.jpg. Okay, once we have this, now let's export const global style. This will be a create global style. First, for the HTML, we're going to have a height of 100%. Then we need a semicolon here. Then in case of the body, we're going to have background image will be URL, and this URL is what we have here, which is background image. This is the thing that we're importing here. Okay, so once we have that, we have the background size is the cover, then margin will be 0, padding will be 0 and 20 pixels, display will be flex, and justify content will be center. Okay, now for all we have font family is Catamaran and sans serif. Okay, so in case of the font family, we need to go to the public folder here, and we're going to go to index.html. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste a link here which will import that font from Google Fonts actually. So what I'm going to do right now is this. Well, I'm going to leave a link of this repository down in the description below, so you're going to find this link anyway, and I'm also going to include this link of the fonts so that you can just immediately take this, copy this, and paste it in the application, or in your application in the public folder in the index.html file. So I'm going to save this, and let's get back to the app.style. Okay, now as we were in the app.styles, after the font family, we will have box sizing, which is border box. Okay, let's export const wrapper. This will be a styled.div. Display will be flex. Flex direction will be column. Align items will be center. Okay, then we have the color will be FFF. We are going to have score, and the color of score will be FFF. The font size, this will be 2 rem, and the margin, this will be 0. Okay, in case of the h1 tag, we're going to have font family. This will be Fascinate inline. Then the background image, I'm not going to use URL this time, rather I'm going to have a linear gradient of 180 degree FFF 87 F1 FF. Then we're going to have a font weight of 400. We're going to have the background size 100%. Then we're going to have background clip. This will be text. Then WebKit background clip. This will be text. I think I made a little bit mistake here. In case of WebKit, I'm going to need 1 hyphen instead of 2. Okay, then there will be another WebKit text fill color, and the color will be transparent. So I'm going to write transparent. Then we will have mouse background clip. This will be text. Again, one spelling mistake, it's mouse not mouse. And mouse background color, instead of clip it will be color, and the color will be transparent. Okay, then we will have filter, and the filter will be drop shadow, and we are going to have 2 pixels and 008583. Okay, that's what we're going to have. After filter, we are going to have a font size. The font size will be 70 pixels. Then we are going to have text align, that will be center, and we're going to have a margin of 20 pixels. Okay, then we're going to have start, and we're going to have next as well. So in that case, we're writing cursor. This will be pointer. Then background will be linear gradient to 180 degree. FFF, and we're going to have FFCC91. Border will be 2 pixel solid and 10 pixels, and RGBA of 0, 0, 0 and 0.25. That's we have for the box shadow. We have the border radius as 10 pixels, not 3, we will have 10 pixels. Then height will be 40 pixels. The margin will be 20 pixels and 0. The padding will be 0 and 40 pixels. Okay. Now as we have that, now for start only, we will have a max width of 200 pixels. Alright, I think we can save this now. Now we can go to the app.tsx. Okay. First and the foremost thing, we are going to import question state, difficulty and fetch quiz questions, and these are all imported from API. Then we will have import question card, and we are also going to import the answer object from question card. Okay, it's not exactly from question card, it's components / question card. I think it's instead of answer card, it should be answer object. Okay. Then we will have import global style. These are the stylings that we have done. So global style and wrapper from app.styles. Okay, now we want the total questions to be 10. That means this is the amount that we are going to pass through the URL. So that's why we are passing total questions equal to 10. If you go to the question card, if we go to the api.ts, you can see that in case of the fetch quiz questions, we're going to pass two parameters. One is the amount and the other one is the difficulty. So in this amount here from the app, we are going to pass total questions. So basically the total questions and the difficulty, both of these are hard-coded in some way, but maybe if you want, you can change it and take it dynamically from the front end. Maybe you can design it in some other way, but I'm just going to keep it very simple at this point. And of course, in this case here, I'm just going to take this function off and turn it into an arrow function. Well, it's the same. In this case, it's the same thing. So now, first we are going to have some states. So we are going to be needing use state. So let's import it first with React. We're going to have use state. So the first state that we want is loading and set loading. This will be initially false. Then we will have questions, set questions. This will be use state and an array, but we want this to be of the question state. That's why we're going to have it like this: question state. We don't want it to be false, and like this. Actually, not like this. We will have it like this. Okay. Then we have number, that number. So in case of use state, the initial value will be 0. Then const user answers, set user answers, and this will be a use state of answer object like this. Next, we are going to have score and set score. This will also be a use state. Initially, the value will be 0, and we are going to have game over, set game over. At first, the state will be true. Okay. Now, what we can do is we're going to write some functions. First function will be start trivia. So this will be an async await function. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do set loading will be true initially, set game over, this will be false. Then we're going to have new questions. This will be the new set of questions and await here. Now we are going to fetch that API, fetch quiz questions, and in this case we're going to pass two parameters, that is total questions, and we're going to pass the enum value easy from difficulty. Okay, so these are the two parameters that we're going to pass. Then we have set questions, new questions. So we are setting these new questions here. Initially the score will be 0. It was already set, but we are going to set this anyway here as well. Set user answers. In this case we have nothing, an empty array. Set the number, that is the question number, that is 0 initially. Again we're setting it, but it was already set before, but still it's not a problem. Maybe actually we are setting this as 0 because when we start we want everything fresh. So this will be the initial state after the button start is pressed. So that's the case. And once these are done, set loading will be false. So you see at first we have the set loading true, then when these steps are traversed, finally when we have the questions, the set loading will be turned to false. So that's what we're going to have from the set trivia function. Next, we're going to have another function which is called check answer. So we have check answer, and here we're going to have an event as well, and this is a React mouse event of an HTML button element. And again, this is an arrow function here. We're going to check if we have game over, if we don't have the game over. So in that case, we're going to have const answer. This will be e.current target dot value. And then we will have const correct equals questions of number dot correct answer equals answer that we have provided. So we're going to check that if correct, then set score as previous priv plus 1. So this is how we're going to set the score. Const answer object equals, we're going to pass question will be questions number dot question. Then we have answer, we have correct, and we have correct answer, which is questions dot number dot correct answer. This is what we have. Okay, so once we have this, we can go with set user answers. This will be priv, and here we are going to have priv and answer object. Okay, now for once one answer is or one question has been answered, then we want to proceed to the next question. So we're going to write a function for next question as well. So we will write const next question, and here we're going to have an arrow function as well. Next question equals number plus 1. So we are going to check if next question is equal to the total questions. That is, as we have set to 10, we're going to check that if the next question is equal to 10. So we're going to have game over to true, else we will have set number equals next question. Okay. So as we have all of these, now we're going to go to the return statement and let's do it. Let's just take these things off. We will have a wrapper, and inside the wrapper we will have global style. Inside global style we will have wrapper, and the class name will be app. Okay. Now this is the part. At first we will have a header or a heading which will say quiz app. Then we are going to have if game over or user answers dot length total questions. If that's what we get, then what we can do is button last name start. On click we will have the start preview function called here. We can close this, and inside we can have the tag as start, or we can have the text as start. We don't need this, we can have it like this. Okay, and we need to have class name written as this. Alright, now that looks fine. So once we have that, otherwise we will have null. Okay, that's the first part. Then we are going to have if not game over, then we are going to have a p tag with class name. This will be score, and inside that we are going to have score will be score. If this is not the case, then we will have null. Okay, next we're going to have loading initially, and a p tag questions loading. That's what we want. And then we're going to have if not loading and not game over. And then we have question card, and inside question card let's make it a self-closing tag. Inside this, we're going to pass question number equals number plus 1. As you know that the number is set to 0, so actually the number starts from 1, so we need to write number plus 1. Then we have total questions. This will be equal to total questions. Then we will have question. This is equal to questions of answer dot question. I'm sorry, questions of number dot question. Then in case of answer, I'm just going to copy this part. So in case of answers, we will have answers. Then user answer, this will be user answers question mark user answers of number or undefined, and then we will have a callback, and in the callback we will have check answer. Okay, that's what we have for the question card. Now we're also going to check if not game over and not loading user answers dot length equals number plus 1, and then number not equals total questions minus 1. So if that's the case, what we can do is this. We can have a button, class name will be next. This is for the next question actually. So on the click function, we are going to load next question. This is the function that we have defined before, and we are going to close this tag, and inside this we are going to write next question and save it. Okay. Oh, well, I think I need to write one more thing, that is, or this will be null. Okay, I hope it's fine. So I'm just going to save this and let's see what we get. I think we might still face an error. So in case of question card, the type void is not assignable to React element. Okay, so if we go to the question card here, so let's see what we can do about it. One thing I missed here is if I go to the question card here, so after this, I just noticed that this has not been used. So actually this was used here. So in this case, it's a p tag with a dangerously set inner HTML. And inside that, we are going to have question. And this will be a self-closing tag like this. I'm going to save it, but still we're getting an error here. Let's try to figure it out and see what we can do about it. So I think if I make the brackets go away, the curly braces go away, and make it like this. It was a silly mistake from me. So from the question card, you can see that I've just changed these curly braces. and that's it. So if I save it now, you can see it's compiled successfully. So let's view the application. Let's console log to see if we are getting the questions or not. So we were going to write console log questions, save it. Let's see what problem we have. So you see, we do need the start button to start the answers. So that's the thing we need first. Let's see what might be the case that we are facing this error. Okay, so in case of the global style, let's just remove this part and let's make this a self-closing tag. And about this wrapper, let's just bring it in the same alignment with the global style. So let's save it now and let's check. Okay, there you go. So if we start, well, you can see that we have run the code successfully. And now I think we can play along. So let's just, okay, this is a correct answer. Let's go with how many planets are there in our solar system. It's 8 or 9. Let's go with 9. No, it's 8. So this is the wrong answer. It was 9 before. So basically, as you can see, that once a wrong answer is provided, you get a red marked button, and for the correct one, you get a white marked button. I mean a green marked button. So if you go to the next question, let's just play along without seeing the questions. Let's see what we get. Wow, this is lucky. This is so lucky. Okay. So as you can see that once we have finished the quiz, so the start button reappears and you can start over. So a new set of questions comes up. So this is how you are going to make this code. And once again, I'm saying that I'm going to leave some of the links down in the description below, as I said previously. So the code, or this code, I mean, the code base or the source code of this project that we have currently done, I'm going to leave a link of this code down in the description below, the GitHub repository, so you can see it, and if you want, you can maybe make whatever you want with it or use it as a reference to build whatever you are trying to build. So basically that's it for the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. So if you did, hit the thumbs up, comment what you thought, and of course subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. So I'll leave today and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.